What's up, Dragon Brood? Now, I know we don't really all like having exclusive cards. As a matter of fact, most of us don't like having exclusive cards. And I think Wizards got a taste of that whenever they did their whole Walking Dead Secret Lair thing. And that didn't go over too well. As a matter of fact, I did this video that obviously a lot of people watched and agreed with they didn't enjoy. Matter of fact, it's one of the few times I probably actually was a little disappointed. More than disappointed in the way things went down with an announcement. And, you know, there was some other stuff at the time. But it sounds like, I say sounds like, Wizards actually has listened to some of those complaints. And we found, or guess had an announcement about a new plan going forward for how this is going to be handled. So let's talk about that. Now, for starters, let me just say this. Secret Lair as a whole, I don't really have a problem with. I think it's mostly a fine product, and really, you don't need it. It's a bunch of reprints. If you want something cool, get it. They do have solid value on the secondary market, so there's that. But otherwise, it's not really a big deal. Matter of fact, I don't even have a huge issue with there being some type of exclusivity on a few things. Just depends on how it's handled, and can we get those reprinted later. As a matter of fact, I believe I said something similar in that Walking Dead video, that it's fine if they exist if we know at some point in the future we are getting regular Magic versions of the cards. Well, with today's announcement, it sounds like Wizards of the Coast is going to do exactly that, which is kind of interesting, but I don't know if it's the best implementation of this rule or plan. Okay, for starters, let's take it from the top. They basically acknowledge that, hey, we want to do this for the Universes Beyond line. And for those of you who don't know, Universes Beyond is going to be their kind of category where they're going to put stuff that's not necessarily in the Magic universe, but some interesting crossover products, kind of like The Walking Dead. The ones we know that are coming out that they've announced already are Warhammer 40k product in Commander sets, I believe, and then a regular Lord of the Rings set is kind of what it sounded like. And that's okay. Like, we're good. We know those things are coming. However, this is them saying that we are going to do something similar in the future that could be a Secret Lair type product. Okay, fine. We're going to get some weird exclusive cards as Secret Lair stuff. But their solution is to go ahead and have those cards reprinted in the future in set boosters in the, we'll call it the list with quotes, because I don't know. We just literally, I'm using quotes, but literally it's called the list. I don't know why it doesn't have a real name by now, but whatever. It's the list. And they're going to let those live in there at some drop rate. However, they did say that they will get an increased drop rate, so that you'll get them more frequently than other cards, which is kind of nice. But you still have to wait 6 months. Now, generally, I don't think 6 months is going to be that big of a deal. And it's not going to really be standard legal anyway, so it doesn't affect that part of the community. I will say this, though. If you are a vintage or legacy player, that could be a pretty big deal, knowing that these cards could potentially be dominant or be just powerful, useful cards, even if they're not the most dominant in certain deck types, for 6 months before you have a chance to get your hands on them if you don't buy the Secret Lair product. That's going to be a little tough. Now, I know some people say, well, what about Commander? It doesn't really affect Commander that much. I mean, even last time we saw the Walking Dead cards, I think I saw them in one game. Like, it's just not a big deal. Like, and they will eventually be available for Commander anyway, so we'll be fine. So I get it. It does have some impact, but it's mostly to the vintage and legacy community. I'm not saying that's not really like irrelevant, but it is a thing, and we do have to acknowledge that. Now, my bigger issue is just that they're with the list. For those of you who don't know, the list is probably one of the more convoluted things. And yes, I know some of you will say Wizards has other convoluted things like the whole Pro Tour qualification, whatever system. But realistically, this is one of the more complicated, convoluted things they have. For starters, it's only in the set boosters. You get 1 per 4 booster packs, roughly, a card from this list. And the list is full of a bunch of stuff that nobody really wants or needs. And some of it's not even really playable, which is a weird thing, because if you're going to get a thing that's a once every 4 booster pack item, it should be exciting when you get it. So to me, it should just be, they should be in every set booster pack. And then if you get the commons and uncommons, you don't really care, versus having it be kind of a letdown that you just get a weird extra card that nobody even really wants or needs. Or just make them all rares and mythics. Or I guess now also reprint exclusive slots or whatever, and they can go there, right? Seems more than fine. Let's let that be the thing. Also, people don't even really know what to expect out of the list or know what's on the list. I mean, it had been a thing for a couple sets before I even realized that it's not even a new list every set. It's just an updated list that they make an article about and just tell you what cards are removed and which ones are added. So like, even that part just makes it weird. Though they did say that if popularity remains for some of the cards, they will continue to stay on the list and be reprinted. So that much is good. My concern though would be, how are we going to gauge this? Because we don't really know, right? Like, how, if people don't know what's on the list or know what to expect or even know what they're missing, or like how are we going to properly say people are excited or not, or happy or not, or whatever? Because truthfully, if you're going to just put an exclusive thing on the list and then ask somebody in a survey, well then yes, we're going to want them to stay forever. I'd rather have random exclusive card number 5 and get my 5th copy than I would just random bad common that nobody wants or needs that I probably have 20 of in a box anyway. So they should always be on the list. Like, I guess until the list gets too full of exclusives, but I would assume that would take at least 5 or 6 years minimum, probably much longer. So why not do it? I don't know. It's a weird thing. Plus, it does mean that it's possible, I guess, that the list version of some of these exclusive cards could end up being equal or more expensive than the Secret Lair ones for some amount of time. But then I guess if it's on the 3rd or 4th run of its appearance on the list, it drops down in price. So like, it's just a weird thing, man. This is like, I guess the only thing I can come up with is this is a situation where they've decided they can do this safely and not really hurt the collectability of anything in the Secret Lair, or possibly end up protecting any type of rights or agreements they have with partners to produce those cards initially. Which brings up another point that they also said currently they're not going to go back and do it for The Walking Dead. And one of the things I mentioned in that other previous video is that if I assumed maybe, just maybe, you put them in the Innistrad sets that are coming out, because that would make sense for Walking Dead type characters to get Magic versions that are equivalent. But no. Why? I don't know. But again, this feels like it could potentially just be them not telling us about some contractual obligations or whatever between studios or creators or who knows what. But then again, could just be a decision to just say, let's do this, see what happens, yada yada. Honestly, I would have tried to find a way to make it happen because I think it would be an easy slam dunk win. Truthfully. People would be super excited about it. And I don't know. It's just another miss the mark sort of thing. Now, overall, I'm okay with the announcement. I think it's mostly fine. It just feels like an incomplete delivery of the thing that you want. It's kind of like, hey, we listened, we knew this was a problem, we came up with a solution, but it feels like we didn't put any real time into finding the best solution or the best implementation of that solution. Now, maybe this goes forward and they change how the list appears in set boosters. If so, then maybe that's awesome. But for now, it's just kind of a meh. You know, if you gave me a choice and you wanted me to vote on it, give it a 10-point scale, how do I feel about this? It's like, it's not bad, but it's not great. It's like a 5.5. You know, like, if I had to give it a number, like, we'll be fine. It gets more cards out in circulation. A bunch of people are probably going to buy the Secret Lairs anyways, so I guess it's okay. But for places where you still can't get Secret Lairs, it's going to be a problem. You know, for places where shipping may be an issue or whatever, or maybe you just didn't have the money at the time, like, could still be a problem, especially if those cards come out from the list and they're still really expensive. At least, again, for a set or two till they get reprinted for the 3rd or the 4th time, and then that's a little bit of a different situation. But overall, you know, I'm at least willing to hear this out, see how it goes, let it play out for a couple months. But I don't know. It looks like it's going to be a little while before we find out what those cards would be or what those sets will be. They did tease that there's some announcement coming in the future, I guess because they've already secured the idea or maybe the license. So, yeah, we'll see what they come up with. But for now, we'll just look forward to our Commander Warhammer products and our Lord of the Rings set. But in the comments below, let me know how you feel about all this. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of strong opinions, and let's keep it civil, folks. Like, if you have some creative thoughts, processes, go ahead and explain them, but no need to be attacking and whatever and just getting ugly about it. We're civilized people, we can have a conversation. And as always, if you haven't, please remember to like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That lets me know you appreciate me and lets you know every time I have a video up. And if you're new to the channel, check out some of my other content, because I've literally been putting up content every single day for over a year and a half, so there is plenty to see. But that's all I have for you for now. We'll see you next time.